Hey guys, in today's video I'll be designing a museum for my hardcore series, where I'll eventually be storing all of the items I gather on my hardcore journey. The first part of this video will be a time-lapse of the building, then I'll give a tour at the end, so stick around to see that. Let's get to building. And that's the build. So I've split the museum up into 4 wings. 2 will hold the mobs, 1 for passive and the other for hostile mobs. The other 2 wings will be for the blocks and the items in the game. On the corners are more spaces for mobs that didn't fit into the wings due to being either water or flying mobs, or belonging in the nether. So let's get to the tour. First up is the hostile mob wing. Here I've designed some basic cells for most of the mobs that are hostile in Minecraft. Nothing too fancy in here. Next, onto the passive wing, where some customization has been done to make some of the mobs feel more at home. Onto the blocks wing. I've separated the blocks based on arbitrary sorting and marked each one with a block, from the wood types to redstone, even to the different dimensions like the nether or the end. The final wing is the item wing, where things like the armor sets ranging from leather to netherite will be stored alongside every other item organized as best I could. Before heading outside, let's take a look upstairs. Up here, I have some basic areas for different items and blocks, like the rainbow area for all the blocks or items that have a color spectrum. Next up is the kitchen, where all the remaining food items are on display. Over here is a charging display for the heavy cores, as well as a mob head conveyor belt. Finally, for the interior is my endgame display of the Ender Dragon egg and head. Now onto the outer corners, where special holding areas have been constructed for special mob types. Up first is this aquarium, split down the middle to separate the hostile and the passive mobs. I've thrown in the conduit here because it fits better with the build. Now onto the aviary. On one side, mobs like the parrots or bees are being held, and on the other with a tinted glass part for the phantoms to fly around in. This area was kind of the leftovers that didn't fit in the passive wing or in one of the other outer holding areas, so I placed the turtle, frog, and sniffer in here. Finally, the nether. Let's head on in. A simple nether area that can be decorated more in the future, but a good starting place for all the mobs that prefer the hotter climate that the nether provides. The final piece of this build lies here in the center, where an unsuspecting lever leads you down to a special containment area for the more dangerous mobs. Hey, now that you've seen almost everything, I thought I would give you a small glimpse as to what my future will look like in my hardcore series. Here are just a large portion of blocks that will be needed for the construction of this build, not including all the terraforming that will need to be done, as well as I'll need one of every other block and item for display purposes in the museum itself. And with that, the museum build is complete. There are still some things that I haven't shown off, so if you want to check out every little bit of detail, make sure to stick around for the long run of my hardcore Minecraft series, where I'll be building this all for real, block by block. There's still room to expand for future updates like the copper update, but I'm looking forward to getting this into my hardcore series. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like and I'll maybe do some more big build episodes like this in the future. Until next time.